What is up, boys and girls and friends of YouTube? Well, so the Blue Mini's gone. I've been doing a little bit, I just haven't been recording much. So what I've been getting up to is a project for a friend. Now, you know I like my Metros. So a friend of mine has got a Metro with a K20 in it. I believe it's K20. And it's all tricked up and that, caged out, really nice and car. But the problem they have with Metros is their front suspension arms are non-adjustable. They are not very adjustable at all, as in zero. And this is one. So this is a standard Metro arm. Now, anybody knows when you lower a Metro, this arm goes from that to like that, which is not the best. You're what's it called? Center mass. What's it called? Roll center. The roll center disappears. And also these, you've got no way of adjusting caster angle on a standard arm. You've got no way of adjusting camber on a standard arm. Unless I think you can buy offset slotted bushes. That's not exact science. So, he asked me a while ago, I am going back a while, to do some tubular bottom arms for him with fully adjustable jobbies. So, this one's not done. Well, let me speak to you where I've got to. So here we have an arm, right? So we have a centre line, front arm. This is a left, by the way. So it's front passenger in the UK, but it's near side. Well, it's not going to be near side abroad either, is it? It's the front left wheel. So if you look at the design of it, it's not symmetrical because the Metro arm is not symmetrical. This here, once you get that square, this is further forward than halfway. So what we started with, because as you can see, I do not have a Metro in the workshop. Me and Greg went through a lot of measurements. I think I bombarded him with measurement. I want this, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want this. Because what I did is I made this jig. So that hub is sitting at, I think it's 3 degrees. Now he runs 3 degrees of camber because he has got some like a Metro arm with a MGF ball joint and slotted rear bushes. And I think 3 degrees is a little bit much for a little car like that myself. But what we did is I set this at 3 degrees. And I needed it at that height. Not for any purpose. Then I wanted all the measurements of his car. So I wanted ball joint, well, centre nut of this bush, centre nut to floor, an exact position on the arm to floor using that arm. So basically I wanted to know exactly where his suspension is, and I built this at his ride height. So when that stock arm is in here, that's set up at his stock height that he's actually running the car at. So from there, I could determine where my bars needed to go to get me the angles I wanted. Let's move this one out of the way so I can show you. So this is my roll center correction pin, right? So that drops the hub down. Normally that ball joint pushes in there and this ball is about here. So we're gaining around 35 mil of drop. And it still clears the wheel. Because they only run 13s. He has got some 14s, but I want this to be able to run on a normal Metro as well. So this will clear a 13-inch wheel, the inner bell. It will also clear his big brake kit that he's going to fit on. Because the more you come down, you see it's at an angle, the more it goes out. So I wanted to get it at ride height so I can bring this into play. You see how the rose joint is sitting perfectly at 90 degrees with this. So the rose joint is sitting in its best position where it's under least amount of load. You know, the load is pushing directly down there. It's not pushing anywhere else. And it'll be that way as well. So to do that, I had to put a downward bend in here. It's only 18 degrees, nothing much. Then that gives us our nice slope up. So from there to there, we have actually got roll center. It actually goes up. So we've got our roll center there, which is quite a big part of what I wanted to add in because he hasn't got any. So for camber adjust, you can either use this nut and bring this out, or you can use the two that are in here, because these are threaded inserts in here and here. So you've got camber. Now for caster, let me just put this bar back in. And they all fit really nice and snug, as you would expect from me. But I don't think gravity in itself is going to hold it there, do you? Maybe? Is that the right way? I think it was. I know what is wrong. I took the freaking magnet away, didn't I? Anyway, so for caster, you want to get the front, this bottom ball joint further forward. So as you can see here, we've got one spacer, well, a spacer and one washer. And we've got 5 washers this side. So he can move this. Technically, he can take all that off there as well. He could move this whole arm that far forward in the bushing. Because what I've done is I've designed it with this further back than centre to allow him to have more forward motion on the arm. So he's got his caster and he's got his camber and he's got his roll centre. Do you know what I mean? So that is what I've been up to. So at the minute, this is just sitting here because I'm actually making more sets. Now, these potentially are already sold, but they're not going to go anywhere. Or I've started all the notching and everything. All of them are going to be mocked up until these are tested on the Metro. So, you know, these are going to be sitting here for a while. But there's still one more bar to go in here. And it's going to go in here, like that, across there. So this is going to get cut off. That's going to get notched. And there'll be a bar inserted in there. Now, it's not in at the minute because this is like a thing. I'll insert a picture for you to see now. So what that does, it holds this bar at 90 degrees to this bar, which is straight in line with that. So that is perfectly in line and square, which is what's giving me the position for the, everything. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make all of these first, which are those ones. So I'm going to get all of these bars for this left-hand arm done. Then I can make up that last bar and just replicate it. I'm doing, I think there's 6 sets here all in total. Then, after I've done that, we've got to flip this over because I've got to do the other side. Now, they're the bars for the other side for this setup. Now, the only difference is this notch is slightly different because there's a notch, a rotation, and a notch. That one is got a slightly different angle of notch. That is it. So they're going to be a perfectly symmetrical set of arms. But I've only got one up. So what I've got to do is once these are done, all of these parts are done, this one's going to get tacked together, decent tacks, come off, remake the jig in the opposite direction using this. Because this is just going to get flipped straight over. Then that will get in line with there. And then we've got our jig. Because that distance and that distance is the same. It's just the hub's here. Do you get me? Catch my drift? But this is going to get all tacked up. It's going to go down to London with that pin. That pin's only aluminium. It's a test pin. And he's going to pull it on the car, check for clearances. So this arm has to be like this. Because when you turn that way, the tyres come really close. So this is all within the standard arms geometry. You get me? But the bar I've brought for that is here. And this is EN 18, which is quite a high tensile, but malleable. It's not a brittle steel, but it's EN 16. It's what, no, EN 18. 60's got 16, 18, and is it 22 or 24? That's normally what you make stub axles out of. So it's quite expensive, but it's really good. And I'll probably be making those on the lathe at work because it's a bit more heavier machine than what I've got. So yeah, this is what we are doing. This is what I've been doing, making arms and scrap. That's, well, I say scrap. There's a lot of offcuts coming off. I've used quite a lot of bar. I've used, well, there's 6 meters in one of them bars. And this is all I got left off the second bar. So these arms aren't going to be cheap, but they're going to be good. You know, I've got quite confidence in my work. The only thing we might do is change that rose joint. This is a brass lined joint. Now these are really good because they're a lot smoother than a standard joint. Like this heavy duty one is more solid, as in there's no bushing in there, and you normally get quite a bit of noise off these. These you don't. Yeah? So which debate, it depends. Depends what happens in testing. Because if we test this out, so if we do the tracking, set the caster, set the camber, and we go out and everything's sweet, we're going to come back in and then we're going to check over everything, make sure everything's hunky-dory. And if so, those rose joints will probably stay. But that's down to the people who want the arms. It's up to them. So I'm probably going to do them without rose joints, but it would be nice to say, we advise this one or this one. Right then, that is it. That is what I've been doing. Nothing. The turbo engine's back on the floor because I needed the space. Done nothing on my car. At all. Haven't touched it. I made some pictures though. Do you want to see them? So this is my rear diffuser. That is where it's going to be. Bit of CAD. So this is the back. That's the back of my van. So radius arm, arch, wheel. And this is going to be my diffuser. Now it's about 1.5 inches narrower than my door. The back door either side. So it's going to be near enough the full width of the back of the van coming to there. Yeah? And the reason that is, I could have it longer, but the reason that is my fuel tank. That's my tank. Now, I don't want to raise it up any more than that. It's already got to be raised 50 mil to clear that part. I mean, it's nice to have a bit of, because that's the bottom of the car. Yeah? It's nice to have a little bit of clearance between the tank and the floor, but the more that comes in, the higher that's going to go. And I want to keep the weight down. You get me? So yeah, I've done a bit of cardboard for you. That's the top shock mount. But I'm tempted to try something a little bit different. But I'm not sure yet. Right, there you go. Quick little video of what I've done, where I've been, why I haven't recorded. And Ben's car, the original Z car booster I did, is coming back next weekend. We're at Silverstone this weekend. Next weekend, it's coming back down for a big strip down and some more work. Right? Catch you later, people. See you in the next one.